coming back to the future. A lot of things has happened, like Corona spikes. Series 11 got released. Series 10 got figured out, kind of. Yeah, we are back. We came back from vacation, came back from work, came back from quarantine. We're back in business because you requested it, because you wanted us to be talking nonsense to you for the sake of having fun. Hey, what is up, buddy? Frisco, how you doing? You look like a criminal. You're scary. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Jose. How are you doing?
Doing good. I miss you, buddy.
I miss you. How do we take this up?
Mr. Ricardo Sapu Desu, how you doing, buddy?
I am good. I am becoming a professional Fall Guys player, and my goal is to win my first game of Fall Guys before this podcast is over.
And rubbing back. You look like a badass, like you're planning something, or in the Matrix. And Mr. McFly himself, Mr. Brutches, how you doing, buddy?
Jose, are you telling me that it's 2020?
It is 2020, still.
Damn, well, I'm late for school.
We're so happy to be back, guys.
Yeah.
Vacation was awesome. We've been doing a lot of things. We're still been brewing. But the common thing, too many messages of people reaching out like, hey, man, we missed the Caracas, so we missed you guys doing nonsense. This is how I get to make money, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to go to work. True story. People told me that. So, yeah. So, what have you guys been up to lately? Frisco, start with you.
Man, the last couple of weeks, I've been basically just grinding out anniversary stuff. Just been kind of, looking at the new cards that were released and kind of building Red Vegito decks, because Red Vegito was my jam back in set 2. So, and I actually like the deck a lot, so it's kind of cool. And just kind of playing more set 10 format. I'm actually liking the format right now and everything.
Sweet. What are you, Ricardo Sapu? What have you been doing?
Ricardo Sapu. August is the busiest month for somebody working in higher education, so I've been pretty busy on that front. My wife and I met 10 years ago yesterday, so we celebrated. Yeah, thanks. So we celebrated by eating at Arby's, which is how she met me. Her and her friends were going to the movie theater, and they saw some cute boy at the register. So 19-year-old me just kind of did the what's up, girl, and then I took all their orders, and then like 30 minutes later, I was cleaning off tables, and I cleaned off the table across from them, and I had the sponge, and it slipped out of my hand and hit the girl, and she thought it was funny, and her friend thought it was funny, so she left her number on the table as a prank, and here we are 10 years later. So it's pretty successful.
You cleaned the table, right? Ha!
I mean, I guess we stretch anything into an innuendo.
You clean that table real good.
So what you're telling me is you clean that table, right?
Yeah, it was my job. Of course, I cleaned the table. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And as of yesterday, I am a professional Fall Guys player, and I'm breaking the game.
And let us know if you guys want to see us play Fall Guys in one of in the Corona cast. We will do that for you guys. But gotta warn you, I'm gonna try hard, so I'm just gonna be practicing on PS4 to beat these scrubs here.
Thanks.
I will spike the out of you, Jose.
No lie. Before Matt goes, I was showing me the game yesterday, and I couldn't go to bed until I succeeded in my previous success, and it's just I was 12:30. I'm like, all right, we gotta call it. I gotta wake up for work.
He's over room terror. He is so over room terror.
I'm
That's
over
all
it,
guys.
Mr. Brushes, what about you? What have you been up to, bruh?
I've been.
Wait, hold on, time out, Matt. Your facial hair looks fantastic today.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Compliment.
Yeah, I was like.
Anyway, I interrupted you so rudely to compliment you.
Thank you so much for the compliment. I have been busy sipping some tea.
Ooh.
Pinky's out.
And
when it's out, Pinky's out.
And zipping that tea, all right.
And I went on vacation with the girlfriend for an entire week, which was absolutely amazing, and then came back, and then I've been working from home for Peloton for 2 weeks until I can go back into the showroom this week. But business at Peloton has been booming, so I have been incredibly busy. And then, as of course you guys seen, we have not slowed down when it comes to producing the best written content you can find in the Dragon Ball Super card game with the new WordPress site. So that'll be a link down in the description below as always. And then of course we just had to bring it back. You know, this is easily the best podcast that's existed for this game. I'm biased, but I'm allowed to be.
Right, but if you're not being biased, it's the best podcast in any space ever.
So we had to bring it back, and I figured now's the time with ever, with Series 11 previews rolling around, a lot of the data we've been getting from Set 10 and messing around and new deck building philosophies and me grinding Magic Arena and learning things about myself. It's been great.
Awesome.
Like you're low-key a green hand destruction player, even though you never wanted to admit it.
Low-key, I am sadly. I'm sadly a green player.
You've become the person you didn't want to be.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain.
Become the villain.
Legit.
That's what happened here.
And for me, I've been just focusing in myself, trying to lose weight, and trying to make yellow baby work. Green, yellow. Green, yellow.
And you succeeded.
We'll see. So, Frisco, lead us in.
So we got some topics here today. Let's get into it. It's been a little bit of time since we last chatted. We didn't really talk about the anniversary cards too much, so we're going to talk about them, get our takes on it, how it's going to change the meta going forward. Let's kind of like dive into that right now. Zap or Poo Poo Bear, what is your take on the anniversary cards? Do you think it's going to have a big impact, little impact? What do you think we should look out for?
I think the Agents of Destruction archetype is a pretty solid tier 1.5 strategy. For it being such a cool aggro deck that does so many things in the early game, I don't understand why people aren't playing Sensu Bean in the deck yet. So
in the deck. Go ahead. I apologize for interrupting you.
No. Your opinion is much more important than mine because Seesaw is such a dumb game. I think that, I think you need to play Sensu Bean. I tested Frieza Prison and it felt unplayable. I'm sorry, John Connor, I love you.
What are you talking about? That's one of the top 10 meta decks. Didn't you hear?
No joke though. When Zap was playing Prison, because we both built a deck and we didn't even talk about it. And we were probably like 10 cards off from each other, not even. And then he played against Jose, and then I watched Zap play it, and then I was like, "Thank you, Zap, for playing the deck. Now I don't have to play it anymore." you got it out of my system.
What do you do? Unison comes down, and then all of your cards are turned off. Like, what do you? I don't know how you play the game.
The deck can't reliably close. I haven't found a way, and maybe there's a way that I'm ignorant to, but I couldn't think of a way. Yeah. I think the Ape deck. There's a couple weird rollings that, like with that 4-drop Bardock, that's kind of rough. That probably is unplayable. But like it's cool. I think it's really fun. But as a whole, I think outside of AOD being a fairly competitive archetype, I don't have a lot of faith for the cards in the anniversary box impacting the game at the highest level.
Okay. Jose, what's your take?
I think it's a good way of reinforcing fun stuff, right? And nostalgic stuff. I always see the anniversary box as nostalgia, right? So reinforcing Vegito. We always wanted to. A lot of people said, "Oh, let's see if we can get a reboot Vegito," right? Okay, we don't get a reboot, but this promo card is actually very, very powerful. It actually gives you the edge that Vegito needed. Now it's a linear deck, so you need to make sure that you draw your mulligan perfectly. But it makes it like a scary deck, right? When he explodes and goes really tall, right? Apes. I've never been a fan of apes, even when apes was a thing. But what I've seen so far is that, and I think Frisco would agree with this, is that the Unison King Vegeta needs to do more. It's lacking for sure. And
Yeah, you almost always want to play it on turn 3 or 4. It seems like the games I've seen it work the best is you played it for 3 energy, and then you tucked a second copy underneath it, and then you play 2 20k apes.
yes, exactly. And then now the obvious deck that's going to be very influential is going to be AOD. Deck's insane. It's really consistent at doing what it needs to do. And Awakening with 14 cards in your hand and 4 bodies on board, at least, is pretty solid.
And then you look on the other side of the board, and there's a Dark Power Black Masayan, and you're like, oh, game 2.
Nobody plays that, bruh. I'm kidding.
That is a hard check to the deck, though.
It is. And now I am extremely excited about the Jiren Unison. I think the Jiren Unison is going to be extremely significant in the meta. It comes for 3, becomes a double strike 20 when you get your +1, -3 activate battle. Insane. So you can minus 25 anything. Battle card, ignoring barrier.
Yeah.
But the craziest, most busted thing that he has is that he has the auto that in every turn, when your opponent plays something, you can negate by 10k,
Mm-hmm.
or take 1 counter off. Or actually, it works on the unison. So if the unison is lower than is 10 or lower in power, it gets killed too.
Yeah.
So, it's really cool. Really cool.
Nice.
I think it's going to be very significant. That Jiren is going to be very important in moving forward. And because the only thing is that we talked about this before, like you guys which is why we say don't break your wallet buying cards that in the secondary market, because the power creep is real. Bandai wants to keep making new cards, so you keep buying product. So remember when we said that Sin Channel is broken? Jiren is better.
Jose, I'm gonna break the fourth wall for a second. You know, we've talked a lot personally about how one of your big goals for 2020 were to become more articulate in your ideas for the sake of the different work that you do, and you articulated that beautifully. And
Thank you.
To shout you out.
The compliment. Richard Zapp has joined the podcast.
This is actually just standard Richard Zapp. This is
Exactly.
This is Richard with no upgrades. This is just standard Richard.
So I know someone has some
Don't make me
thoughts
take off
on-
the sunglasses, Matt. I will
Don't
you up.
interrupt me. I'm just messing. I know someone has some thoughts on the Jiren Unison. His name might not be Matthew Combs. I don't know. What's your take on it?
He is Jiren, bro.
Yeah, I am.
He's just gonna talk about himself, bro.
I'm the thickest boy. So I think the anniversary product as a whole is pretty amazing. Honestly, like getting to open product for the first time today and opening the reprint packs was awesome.
That's
like
beautiful.
It feels nice.
The cards look amazing. You know, getting the foil packs was awesome. But then of course, like getting the reprints was fantastic. So I just love that a product that's like super affordable is like just gives you access to cards that, you know, were ridiculously expensive just like, you know, a day prior to its release. So that was really exciting for me. But all the cards in the anniversary box, AOD stuff, of course, is going to be the thing that looks like it ages the best. And I know that, you know, my take was seen as something that was, you know, originally when I put the idea out there of Jiren Unison being, you know, better or the key to Red's success right now. In testing, it's proven to do so. I mean, you just have to think about the amount of pressure a 3-drop 20k indestructible barrier deflect guy has, and how hard it is to kill. The only thing that kind of worries me though is in testing right now and in practice is like red decks not having easy access to Bardock Resolute like really brings the power down of red a lot. So I think if you're trying to play red based strategies, I think leaning back into a leader like Surge Coup instead of doing like a mono red leader, like playing Surge Coup is probably going to be the most successful for you. But I really liked the Vegeta AOD Unison as well. I think he has a really good home in a few decks. Personally right now, I'm playing him in mono green Frieza just as like a finisher at the top end. I think it's a really good spot for it. And then Janemba Unison, Frisco, you'll probably end up touching on it, but that's been hella impressive in Vegito, like Blue Vegito, because like it's a
Shout out to our Lord Savior. Like,
I'll
Yeah,
shout out to
Gencon.
John Connor on that.
but it's like, you know, he comes down on 2, survives, and then the next turn, if you have 3 open energy, you just swing with it first, and then your opponents, what are they gonna do? Like, are they gonna spend the negate? Are they gonna? Because like this is just 25k triple strike crit coming to your face. Pause. But anyway, that's. I think the anniversary box is great. Go ahead.
So yeah, I'll touch on a couple of things. A lot of the points got taken up. I think Jiren Unison cool is really good at having self protection. I think any unison that has self protection, like Bardock, green 2-drop, or the Jiren, stuff like that. That Bardock protects itself by stopping combos, and Jiren shrinking even unisons by 10k. So like the unison that you plan on safely playing because it has deflect, can't still take off markers off the Jiren. So I always like that part about it. One guy I want to give love is Vegito. I've been rocking that out. I absolutely love the deck. I know I was a little biased with it, but it actually has a very high ceiling with playing turn 2, turn 3 Hyper Rush.
How's its floor?
Its floor would be pretty bad. You have to hard mulligan for the 5-drop. I haven't actually had a game that I
There
haven't
is
seen
no
that
floor. It's only the basement and the underdwellings of hell.
Yeah. Literally, if you don't see the 5-drop, you might as well just scoop it within the first. Like if you don't see it by turn 2, turn 3, it's gonna be pretty bad. Yeah. So I haven't actually had that happen yet. It's just because the deck can see a lot of cards by taking its own life rather than seeing cards in the deck. There's no tutor for it, which feels bad, but yeah. And yeah, Janemba Unison in Vegito feels really good. Shout out to John Connor on that. Just I was talking to him. Yeah,
How
right.
long are we gonna do before we get John Connor on the podcast? By the way,
Let's do it next week.
Next week. Let's do it.
But yeah, no,
We have to reserve 3 hours so we can pick his brain. That guy is overflowing with good ideas.
Right? And then, I basically just built the Vegito deck that just basically either goes Zeno route or Janemba route, and just whatever you draw. So instead of playing Mine the deck, just whatever unison that you happen to get is just the route you go. And it's been just proven to be pretty cool, and I like it a lot.
Sweet.
Let's move on from anniversary stuff. Let's talk about Gencon and the events, results. Do we take it with a grain of salt? What we learned, what we didn't learn, etc.
Yes.
Jose, let's start with you.
Yes. So actually, it turned out to be much better than I expected. I really expected a big train wreck because I expected people cheating left and right, people trying to give bad, how you say?
taste in your mouth.
No, like just trying to fake their deck list because you need to provide a picture.
Yeah.
And then play online. Which some people were called out, like there were some issues with their deck list, but I don't know if that was referring to that. Maybe it was just like a card was put, like it was not visible enough or whatnot. But in general, like the experience was really good. Like, and I feel like the mood of everybody was like very relaxed, right?
Chill.
Like,
It's casual event. Yeah,
very, very casual event. Only the true tryhards that wanna Ultra Plus wanted to go to top 4 to get extra packs and whatnot. But in general, man, I had so much fun because I got to play the decks that I thought they were fun. I played OG Broly, and I played people that were playing my yellow baby. I'm so happy, but I felt so bad that I beat. But it's people were playing what they wanted. I played somebody was playing Strength of Legends, TOP Frieza. It was freaking awesome. Like,
Strength of Legends, Matt's favorite card. Yeah,
I got lucky that I'm playing Dormant. I was playing a Dormant Legends deck. That dude tapped out to bring Vegeta, then double Sensu Bean to bring Strength of Legends, and go into Legends. So wow. It was gonna swing like a bunch of times with a 30k and a 35k dual attack.
And then you played Shad as well, right? Who had the coolest Gogeta BR deck.
Oh yes, I play Shadow. I play Shadow. Really good friend of ours. Really good player. And at that point, I was playing Vegex. because I wanted to, go like super aggro on the first day of Gencon. I got obliterated. I got deleted from existence. Like Zeno went like, and it erased me from every time continuum. Uh, but it was really cool because he's always been a good friend, and after our match literally lasted 10 minutes. So we had plenty of time to just go through the day. Like, dude, this is what
Bro,
I want to figure out.
I know you're in Canada. I'm in Columbus, but if you want, I'll take you out to Applebee's, we can eat in the parking lot, and I can get home just in time for the next round after quarantining for 14 days.
Exactly. So no, he was super cool. We talked a lot about the deck, and basically for me it was super exciting because it was something that we were trying to do, but with the Red Gohan, and he figured it out using Red Gogeta instead. So which is one of my favorite Red leaders back in the day. For actually the previous Gen Con, played with Team Wars with Alex Pastrana, Weird Collectibles. He carried the team, carried us to winning that Team Wars. And I was playing Red Gogeta, so it was fantastic.
I wonder who
He
brought you
also
Red
played Dark
Gogeta.
Rejuvenator Toa, which might be the most underrated card of all time.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the key. That he just went into Trunks, swam with him, restanded. He was already awakening life because he was taking also life with his Gogeta ability, and then restanded with the Toa, swim with the Trunks again, and Hartford plea. I was like, yeah, I'm not winning. I need about I need a BBD or something. Nope, negative.
Sweet.
But overall, great experience. I didn't participate on the camera one. I was only like
me either.
Actually, it changed my opinion on tap because I think playing on tap with a microphone it's improves the interaction dramatically. And so people were, there were some folks that were still learning on the spot how to play on tap, but for the most part, people knew what they were doing. So it was fun. And everybody had the best mentality. It's like, dude, we're just here to have fun. What happens. I'm still going to get my product. And a lot of people just asking about the podcast. So that's why we're back here, actually. So it's like, man.
Yeah, quick shout out to all the TOs and judges because that events ran super smooth, much smoother than what I anticipated for online event, and the whole Discord and thing like that. It kind of gelled together pretty well and pretty nicely. I wasn't expecting that, so kudos to you guys because I think it was tag games.
It was tag. David Fassbinder was running head judge.
Yeah.
Casey Campbell.
Yeah.
What's the other gentleman?
I think Mark Hill was judging too.
Mark Hill was judging.
Yeah.
He was keeping tight ship too.
He was keeping get all the deck lists and everything. Yeah, it ran super smooth,
they work really hard.
Round was over, boom, pairings up. All right, cool. Exactly. So it had a lot of pluses and minuses for sure. I like the fact that like within like seconds you can get your pairings and like just go in the room and like you don't have to fight through a crowd of people just to see a wall on the piece of paper or like a wall with a piece of paper on it, and taped on it. And everyone's like gathering around like, hey, what's my number? Yeah. So it definitely has its pluses and minuses from it.
Something I wanted to add, which is pretty cool. Yeah. I was talking to Joe Cilo from our color crew and Michael, and because every time after a match we would go into a channel and chat. So it was actually really cool that we still get to hang out from the comfort of my home, and I was actually playing while I was eating lunch, having a beer. It was pretty cool.
I definitely like the casual appeal of it.
I'm gonna cut you off real fast just because Joe Cilo got top 8, his first top 8.
Oh, right.
He did. Right. Reboot, go on, bro.
And then, I think you guys can disagree or agree with this statement, but I did appreciate the events and how fun it was, and at the casual level, I don't know if we could scale this to a large competitive event. I don't know if that would be feasible with just the integrity of the game, even with webcams or online. I want to kind of get your guys' take on that.
So my opinion first off. So for those who won and those who placed well, it's still an accomplishment no matter what. Like understanding that playing a high variance game like Dragon Ball Super card game and playing best of one and succeeding in a format like this that's so wide open is a credit to you, and that's awesome. I do think that the weekend, the biggest thing to look for was just seeing if the decks that are supposed to be the best decks did well. It's not necessarily if they won every event. It's not necessarily if they placed really high. It's just seeing what the top 8s and top cuts look like. Because if you see a lot of the stronger decks, like Yellow Gotenks, the blue decks, Sin Shenron, Invoker, Vajeks, the green decks, if they're all making top placements, that's the expectation, is that those decks do, and then they'll end up being better in a best of 3 environment. So I think we learned a lot. I think the best of 1 format shows that being on the play is incredibly important, and playing an aggressive strategy in best of 1 is a really smart strategy.
Exactly.
But those who came to the events playing the decks that were either good stuff decks, either good stuff blue decks or yellow decks, were successful because of the diverse field. And those that did play the best decks were rewarded in some of the higher end events when people were playing for higher stakes. You know, the first Friday event was a big event. A lot of people were playing tryhard decks, and I believe Invoker won that event. So I think so. So I think just keep in mind, like everything was proven that we thought would be proven. But again, huge testament to everybody that prepared and played and placed really well, especially the cooler decks that were out there, like the Ginyu deck that placed really high, the Bulma deck that won an event.
Bulma deck,
exactly. All that's amazing. So a
lot of folks from our Cuddle crew, from our thick boys, they place well playing Bulma. So
yeah, they love Bulma. Richard,
I think this was a format that, yeah, I mean, the only thing I'm going to really add, you guys hit a lot of it, and I'll be frank, I didn't have the time to keep up with a lot of it, is that this is definitely a format where at the end of the day, playing the right deck for you is so much more important than playing the right deck.
Exactly.
If you have extensive matchup knowledge, you have that one tech to make that one bad matchup manageable. Those are little things that are going to up your win percentage enough over the course of an event that you can be successful with most anything. There's definitely exceptions, but I think the last time I posted a tier list, I felt like there were like 40, almost 40 different leaders that even if there were like leaders that you could pick that did the same thing as something else, but just a little bit, worse. There's dozens of decks that can be successful right now. And for me, especially in a best of 1 format, that's probably the coolest. The goal for a best of 1 format is to show diversity and to be rewarded for guessing this is what I think the room is going to have, and then correctly predicting that, and your gauntlet reflecting it.
Yep. It's all good stuff. All right, enough with Gencon. There we go. Wrap it up. We're moving along. So, let's talk a little bit about. Actually, I'm going to throw a little bit of curveball. I want to talk about a little bit of rulings that came out because Matt mentioned Bardock the Resolute, and I have to go on a little bit of tangent because I'm not happy about it. I like my Bardock the Resolute, and I wanted red decks to stay competitive and at a good level, and Bardock was like the main way for decks to compete right now, and Bardock was the way. But now with the ruling, just to catch everybody up, is that the single strike, double strike, triple strike, quadruple strike triggers or damage doesn't trigger Bardock the Resolute anymore. So the only way to trigger Resolute is from critical damage or taking your life, burn effect, taking your damage like the Migra or like Dimension Magic, sparking effects, etc. Which makes the card a little more limited and probably more of a side deck card if your deck doesn't run Intensifying Power Trunk. So I'm a little bit upset about that ruling. But what is your guys' take on it? If you guys agree or disagree with me on that?
I'm with you. I think the card becomes much weaker, especially because of the fact that it's also a 0-gate combo. So I'm not a big fan of it that much anymore. Which is funny because at the same time that ruling was coming out, or actually no, a couple of days when it came out, we were looking again into the yellow baby, and so basically trying to get free stuff on the board as much as possible. But I agree with you that now it's so hard to you have to build your deck around it essentially, like to enable it. So I don't like decks that you have to build against something that is not necessarily going to win you the game. Like if you're like building your deck around Celestino, it's worth it because it's gonna win you the game. So
I think that's a good summary. Yeah, red would probably be pretty dumb if like imagine the card existing in like set 6 format or any time that red was good previously. It would have been really unfun. I don't know. It's a shame. The card is still playable, but as you said, it has to be a deck that you build around. The new Broly leader has critical, so that's an example of one leader that can build around it. But yeah, finding unique ways to instill critical. So that Frieza is another good one. Also, the red Frieza from Draft Box that gives something critical. There's a couple that support it.
unless you figure out Yamcha somehow.
I think honestly that the core of your red decks, if you want to build a Resolute deck right now, should be Intensifying Power Trunks, Nappa Super Combo, and Mercenary Tau. I think getting the early critical is important. Nappa Super Combo being an enabler for making your board go wide so you can then play Tau, who also has critical, is worthwhile. And I think that Nappa Super Combo is just really underexplored at the moment anyway. I think a 20k combo power, I mean, we've seen how powerful Bibbidi Super Combo is because its ability to help you defend, but Nappa becoming 2 super combos is really worthwhile. I think if you're doing that, though, you have to play a strategy that mitigates the loss of hand advantage, which I think is the biggest problem that Red has. And the reason why the Resolute ruling hurts so bad is because in order to enable Resolute, you're going to find yourself having to dump hand, more often you would like to be able to Resolute on the table. And then by that point, even right now, I've been testing different lists, like the Red Broly from, I forgot what series, Set 7, the Red Critical Broly, which the deck is good. The deck enables Resolute, but I'm not even able to swing with Resolute when it comes down because I can't risk it dying on my opponent's turn.
You can kill it.
So I've been doing a lot of neat things in testing where I'll play a 1-drop, and even though I could attack with it that turn, I'm passing, and then I'm waiting to have my big explosive turn the following turn. And so it's weird. You have to play the game in a backwards fashion that an aggro deck would, but you also have to play to protect your board and your hand advantage at the same time since they're tied together in red, which I think is the weakest part of the color.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another, just to recap on other rulings that came out with the new Xeno Bardock with you can't play unisons when it's on board, which feels extremely bad. So just FYI on that. So if you have that on board, you can't play any unisons, which feels pretty neg. Yeah, not gonna lie on that. I don't think there's any other relevant rulings. Your AOD plural stuff, that all works now, so don't worry about that ruling, stuff like that. And I think that's really about it for the rulings, unless I'm missing anything. You guys let me know.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
Okay, good, cool. It's a good summary of that. Now to the juicy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We got the set 11 previews. We got just a little tease of the palettes, a little bit, just to kind of keep us waiting, and hopefully we get some more. Let's dive into it now. Get our hot takes on them. I'll go last because I don't want to take up all of our time with Red Gogeta. Let's start with Matt first. Get us your take on some of the stuff that has been released.
So, first off, Grim Reaper of Justice, baby. Everyone's like, man, I just really wish that Green had a decent, Gotenks leader, and we are getting one in Series 11, which is incredibly exciting. And the leader is generically good, which I think is cool. And also people are talking about it, but the Majin Vegeta leader is absurd.
He does too much.
Absurd. Self-awaken, 5k in double strike, awakens at 5 life, untaps 2. Isn't it just
the funny thing?
That's just so bananas. It's and I know that it's right now we're thinking about it in a vacuum, but in a vacuum that's
busted.
That's nuts. So I think also a common trend was the hyper aggressive leaders. So Gogeta, which Frisk is going to gush about, Broly, and Majin Vegeta are all untapped 2. So they brought back untapped 2 for all these leaders, which is the amount of tempo gained from being an untapped 2 leader is just absurd. When you're talking about all the floodgates that are being played and just how impactful it is to awaken early once you play a unison to be able to hold up different things, it's pretty absurd. So I'm definitely hyped about it seems like aggro is getting a lot of love, and I think it's like about time, because losing to Dormant Potential Unleashed has been miserable in Series 10. Like, miserable.
Yep. Agree.
Jose, what's your take? Were you able to read some of the cards? What was your take?
No, yeah.
Okay.
I just pulling the Vegito Unison because I want to remind myself. But no, exactly what Matt said. Like, I think the leaders are really good. I think Gotenks also it's pretty cool. The abilities he has. I love the flavor that you just can create tokens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the tokens cannot be touched. Essentially, no, but tokens can. Battle cards no. That's what it is, right?
Yeah. I think it's like your opponent can't attack. Yeah, they can't attack your battle cards.
The opponent's leader. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love the text on that. The taste, the flavor text on that. So it's wonderful. But the one thing that I like is that how they're moving in the direction of leaders having double strike on the awakened side. So you can actually now threaten the unisons that are still working, like the Migra, bro, they're working, bro. You know, the Riga unison is just so good, right? But now when you're swinging with a dual strike all the time, it's like, wait a minute, the Migras has to die now or I die. You know, so I love that. That's I see that as potentially a sign that Bandai noticed that, well, the Unison actually slowed out the game a little bit more. We talked this in one of our previous podcasts where like the flow of the game essentially became I play my Unison on 2.
Yep.
I swing, then the opponent has to play his Unison as well and start swinging at the Unison. So now it's just an exchange of power and see who takes over the game by killing the other person's Unison. But now you get one less swing to swing at the Unison to get rid of the counterplay.
Yeah.
So you get like less. But I wanted to talk specifically about the SS3 Vegito Unison. First of all, the art. I love the art, dude. I love
the art is sick on that card.
I love the -7. I think it's a really good it's a really good finisher in the sense of like, you know what, if I have 7 counters here or more, I should finish the game somehow. you know. So I really like that, and I see it like a weaker Migra in that sense. The fact that he gains 2 and he's a 15 now, so yeah, I like it a lot. So
cool.
And, but so far, I'm super excited. Like all my characters are getting love. Baby, Majin Vegeta, Vegito,
SS4, Broly, Gogeta, all in the same set.
Everything. Broly BR, Gogeta BR. I'm loving this set so far. We've only seen commons and rares, but we haven't even seen blue or yellow. So
yep, we'll see what happens. Zap, what's your take?
So like I really haven't thought too much about the new stuff in full because we just have so little of the packages.
Yeah.
I've been thinking a little bit about like how new cards interact with old stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I've had a time to play much this month, but Dredge Q is still really fun to me because not losing to aggro because you play Dormant Potential is like the funnest part of the format for me.
You're a horrible human being.
I'm actually really excited to that 5-drop Go Tanks with Deflect.
Mm-hmm.
I like how that's a hopeful future target. That is so cool to me. It does like a lot because none of its requirements involve being played from hand. So that's the only thing that has me like head over heels excited.
It's like just a good generic good card. That Go Tanks. It's crazy.
So, that card. So it comes down. It's 30k, double strike, and then you get to remove 2 markers from a unison. Then
he essentially already swung without coming to play into the unison.
Yeah, then KOing anything ignoring barrier. Like that card is like Dredge Q's like wet dream. You know I'm interested to see, and like when we are finally able to get these cards in like Untapped or Octagon, I would love to see a green leader ramp deck strategy that tries to ramp to the 2-drop Vegito -7.
That's cool. It's not leader restricted.
No, it's not. You just have to have a mono green leader. That's it.
That's pretty. Yeah, with just Android 16 can do it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. Android 16s, the Android 21 ramp card, like whatever you got to do, just try and ramp there, and then just hopefully kill your opponent right then.
I like it.
Bad Omen too.
Yeah, look at that. We're building some stuff here. So Zap, any other comments?
No.
Okay. I guess I'll talk about the Red Gogeta stuff. Go figure. I think the Red Gogeta stuff is pretty cool. I have to admit, when I first read it and then I read the green cards, I'm like, man, the green cards just seem better. But that's not seeing all the cards and everything like that. I like the fact that you can go into the 8-drop Gogeta on turn 4 without committing any energy to it. So you can actually still structure your turn because the 6-drop says basically you can't play any more cards for the turn, battle cards. Mm-hmm. So you have to go into the 8-drop the following turn. But that's okay because then if the 6-drop stays alive, you can structure your turn as far as like removing the board or not having to commit to it that early. So that I think that will work out pretty well, but it's kind of weird with the whole skill stuff. We'll see how that shapes out.
Question
yes.
for you, Frisco.
Yes.
So on the Red Gogeta 6-drop, I have it up right now. So the auto, when this card or one of your opponent's cards attacks, you may choose one of your opponent's cards and it gets minus 20,000 power for the battle if you do negate the skill for the turn. So question, do you think you'd want to go into the 8-drop the next turn? Or is that
on my next turn?
I'm just saying, or would you want to keep the value of that auto around?
Well, it just depends, right? Because if you bring it on to 2 and they have no board, you just win the game.
You know what this card also makes me want to do? Play Strats of U7, so it can't be killed at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I definitely agree. That's a way to protect it for the following, to make sure it survives the following turn for sure. Because it's something that can't be KO'd, and with barrier basically means they have to ignore barrier while shrinking power to remove it, which is very difficult.
Yeah.
Jared wants to have a word with you, Frisco.
What'd you say?
I said Jared wants to have a word with you.
I know, right? Jiren, or Dredgeku can get rid of it, just like, hey, crit 2, goodbye. Like feels bad, but it is what it is.
Only Jiren would be able to kill him, actually. You're right. Because I comes into play, swing, activate battle, bye.
Which Jiren are we talking about? Maybe I'm losing.
The
Unison.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You just can't swing once you play it.
Pass. It's like, play it.
Hard.
I'll wait.
Yeah, so I am actually kind of excited for it. The unison that goes with it, the Gotenks, seems pretty cool because it gives them all those counters on it, so you just have an explosive -5 with it. That was just kind of highlighted today.
Yeah.
That Dark Broly, holy moly.
That unison that was, when was that? Was that previewed today?
That first preview today.
Let me pull it up.
So yeah, I can just read it off real quick. It's basically 3-drop, 20k double strike. Once per turn, when a marker is removed from this card by an opponent's skill, or by a skill, not even by opponent's skill, by just a skill. So there's a card in the future that removes your own markers by a skill. Your opponent has to discard a card from hand.
Wait, that's a card?
Yep.
Wait a second.
Oh yeah.
Wait a second. so wait, you're telling me green gets a 3-drop 20k double strike unison that has a +2? No, why?
And the +2 is insane because you're trading one card from your hand that you probably want to discard. Probably Rebrand, Saiyan Instincts, or whatever. Yeah, right. And then you can pitch your 8-drop Broly. You can pitch a lot of good stuff from your hand, and your opponent has to pitch a card. So it's like the slug effect, right? So you have to pitch, and you just, for the heck of it, just KO something. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So
just KO it.
So for the steep price of +2, you just get probably one of the best 2-for-1s there is. Just the steep cost.
But you gotta understand that he's got a -1 for making you take a counter of your opponent. You understand?
And go ahead.
Which nobody's gonna use.
But it doesn't generate a 15k vanilla.
Oh my god.
Did you consider that in your evaluation?
Yo, RIP to anyone that spent money on cooler unisons.
I do feel bad.
Like,
because Well, I think we definitely see the benefits of having a 20k unison versus a 15k for 3 energy. That itself is a lot of self protection because there's like it self protects even from the 1-drops too, or even if they play a 1-drop and take a life and still have the combo, right?
It's not that. This has 5 counters on it when it comes down.
I know. and you get punished. Say if someone uses a Gotenks on it, you get punished for removing counters from it. So
people think Zeno is too broken because he comes down and he has 4 and he's a 9k. This card's a 20 and he has 5.
He's thick.
These bad boys stay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I feel when I read Red Gogeta, but then I just read the red then I read the green cards. I'm like, man, why can't Gogeta do that stuff? You know. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. I'm excited for it. We're probably going to get, I'm assuming, all the rest of the red and green cards by Friday. For next week, we'll dive into it deeper.
Let me ask you something, guys.
Of course.
What about the KO? It seems like the KO is very underwhelming, but I wanted to bring it up to you guys. What do you guys think?
Read the card, and I need to see more of the picture to see it. I from right now, I don't see any of the value from it, but I could be totally wrong.
Doesn't the I have to check. Do all the swap pieces, for the most part, increase counters?
Let's check.
I'm pulling it up now. Or is that...
You could be right. I think at least 1 or 2 of the pieces add counters to it. When this card played, can't play copies of this turn.
But the thing is, when are you gonna
choose 1 red card, 1 progress, play from your hand?
I see.
Okay, so the 4-drop does
the 4, the 5, and the 6 adds 2.
Okay, so that's 2, 3, 4. So that adds 4 counters. When it comes into play, that's 5. And then you're gonna +1 from using a 6. So yeah, I can see it getting to 7.
If you do multiple chains as well.
Yeah, see it.
So the challenge that I see is that, but when are you gonna play KO so it doesn't die?
From reading KO, like that card, you're not playing that card until the turn.
I would say turn 3.
The turn the turn you can activate it. Like it's not like a Demigra, not at all.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's why I wanted to bring it into conversation because it's very counterintuitive. Because you would think like, oh, it's a 1 cost. I'm gonna play on turn 1 plus something, but you can't. So I'm
kind of interested to see how Brawley turns out because it seems like he's going to be a pretty scripted swap strategy, and it seems like it's going to be an aggro deck that takes cards out of your hand for a limited amount of time, and but you get your resources. Get your resources back.
That's really neat. How it's like this backwards form of hand destruction, or it's like it's just puts you in this weird spot where it restricts your resources just the turn you're defending yourself, and then just can set up. I mean, you basically want to go through the chain as many times as possible. I think the most fascinating part, though, is the Leader's Awakened side, the second auto. Have you guys read that yet?
Or
the 3-drop or the Ba?
No. The actual Leader itself.
Oh, what about it?
On the Awakened side, the second auto.
Yeah. Let me go back to it. Yeah, I know I read it, but
the second activate main, you mean?
No. So auto on the Awakened side.
Sorry. I'll look at
I got it up.
Choose 1 card in your hand and discard it. When one of your Broly BR cards is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill or KO'd, choose 1 red Broly with energy cost of 4 or less in your hand and play it. So you can like, if they kill any of your Brolys, whether if it's like instant speed or anything, you can just like restart your chain, which is kind of gross.
I think the 5-drop says you have to have 3 energy or 4 energy, or they have to have one of the
And then the and it's not the auto is not once per turn either. You just have to have 4.
All the time.
Oh, it's not once per turn. Oh,
yeah,
snap.
It's each time. I was
about to swear.
That's like kind of absurd. Like you're just like, oh, you kill my thing. That's fine. We'll do it again. Like
again, I'm like, okay.
you know what's surprising to me because whenever I see the term KO'd, I've been always looking for cards that KO your own battle cards because of Veku, Defective Fighter. Because I'm like, oh, if I can play Veku and KO at the same turn, I get the ramp too. But there's no. I wish there was a way to KO your own battle cards, but thank God there's not. There's actually a Cal 4-drop, but that's not relevant.
No. Paris does. The 1-drop.
Is it the 1-drop?
The green one.
Does it actually KO or does I think it just places in the drop? I don't think it KOs.
Might be right.
Yeah.
Slumber Strike KOs.
You know
Which one?
Slumber Strike.
Ooh.
Dude, I don't think that KOs your own battle card.
I believe it does. Go look up the text.
You know,
Oh man.
I am also just in the market of playing Broly is just generic good stuff red leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like why not? Like
Choose one battle card with energy cost granted. Choose one battle. Oh wow! So you can choose your own battle card, but you have to look at your opponent's energy. That's interesting.
that is interesting.
That's funny. So yeah, you guys could KO your own 4-drop with 1 energy. Yeah.
And
I
then
like where guys does that.
the Fergus, what was it? The 1 drop, the sacrifice, choose 1 green. Oh, it has to be green.
Yeah.
And you place it in
Yeah,
drop.
yeah, we're just trying to deck build on the podcast.
Richard,
We'll-
Zap.
Oh, dude, wait, time out. The 2-drop actually chooses a Broly BR.
Ooh,
Or you have,
that's interesting.
the 2-drop, what?
uh,
The Ba?
the 2-drop Fergus. So you can actually you could play like Rick Green if you wanted.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, tell me, Richard, with Red Broly Leader, how playable is Planet Into?
25 critical, my boy.
You
100% time.
always have it.
Yeah. It's like Resolute is like always lag.
The other thing I don't know if you guys noticed, it's on both opponents' turn in both turns.
Yeah.
So if they kill your stuff during your turn, you can still play it. And wow, that's really interesting.
And then one thing I want to know, I know we touched about Vegeta AOD leader. I know you kind of touched on all the stats. I think the biggest thing with AOD Vegeta leader that's absurd is that it still draws a card from the top of your deck, even though you take your own life and you get double strike. So typically when you have those effects that you take a life and get this absurd effect, you usually don't draw a card off the top of your deck. For example, this Broly, if it gains critical but it doesn't draw a card at the top of the deck. But for some odd reason, Vegeta does. I mean, I don't know why. But so yeah, I think that part's absurd.
Oh,
about Vegeta.
I think it evens out for the 6 other Vegeta leaders we've had in the game that haven't had a significant impact in Series 1.
There you go. But yeah, we'll dive more into this when more stuff gets released and we have more educated opinions about what's going to be good and bad, etc., and see how red Gogeta is, because that's what's most important, right? So yeah. Any final takes before we end this up?
Your shirt reminds me of the logo for the Rent musical.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks.
I'll take that as a compliment. That's my compliment for the podcast.
It's a hot take. It's a hot take.
There you go.
That's not with us tonight, but we're lacking a tier list. So somebody needs to tell me their favorite chest workouts.
Chest workouts. Okay.
Bench press.
Top tier is diamond push-ups. Lower tier is normal push-ups. Tier 2 is one-hand push-ups.
So just, we gotta get a better tier list.
This man's going all body weight exercises.
We probably can't have this conversation without either Peter Catani or Cam Williamson. So
Good point.
Exactly.
I apologize in advance.
Boys.
Wait. Don't forget. We are all going to be reunited soon.
Maybe we should do the podcast there at Jose's.
Yeah.
That'd be legit.
Let's spoil the surprise.
Did we? Yeah, I just mentioned it. I didn't know that was a surprise. It's news to me.
Yeah. Okay. So
I put super big, and you were like, "We're going to say." It's like, okay, there goes the surprise.
I'm like, surprise!
Spoiler alert: we're all tentatively celebrating Labor Day by getting each other pregnant.
Yes. I'm not gonna be able to wear white anymore.
Oh jeez. Well, boys, I think that was a good way to end.
Wait, before we go, you're not gonna wear white, all right?
I love you guys.
Love you too.
I'm glad we brought this back. This is a great time.
Pitu, 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 pita. Yeah. Chicken and can. And a cobia. Mama. Rutu, pitu, pitu. Rutu, pitu, pitu, pita. Yeah. Chicken and can. And a cobia.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
That was awesome.
That's good. What would we keep it under?